A Ukrainian FPV drone identified a damaged house suspected of being used as cover by Russian troops. Without hesitation, one drone descended toward the structure, followed by another, bringing it down in a cloud of dense smoke. Beneath the debris, signs of movement appeared. A lightly wounded Russian soldier slowly sat up, visibly in pain, and began crawling toward a nearby building for shelter. Moments later, another Ukrainian drone pinpointed the location and engaged the new structure, followed by a second, which brought the building down completely. As smoke filled the air, a third drone approached and carried out a final, precise strike. Amid the chaos, every attempt at shelter turned into a perilous trap. Two Ukrainian soldiers were traveling in a civilian vehicle, part of a convoy moving along a narrow rural road. Suddenly, the soldier in the passenger seat looked up and noticed a Russian UAV flying overhead. Within seconds, it descended rapidly and impacted their vehicle, causing a sudden burst of flames. The driver remained motionless behind the wheel, while the passenger reacted immediately, opening the door and leaping out, hitting the ground and rolling several times across the dirt. Disoriented, he stood up and turned toward the burning vehicle. Flames had already consumed the engine. He quickly moved to the rear, grabbed a fire extinguisher, and began spraying into the blaze. Inside, valuable equipment and documents were already lost. As the fire continued, he stepped onto the road, waving urgently to signal nearby teammates for assistance. The rest of the convoy moved in to help, but the damage had already been done. A reconnaissance drone spotted another Russian infantryman in full gear attempting to conceal himself with a camouflage net. He moved slowly, carefully scanning the area, convinced he was hidden. Eventually, he stopped under a tree to rest and light a cigarette. At that moment, an FPV drone was already closing in. The operator guided it silently, keeping a low profile until the final approach. When the strike occurred, it triggered a blast that caused a fire at the impact site. A Ukrainian FPV drone targeted and disabled a Russian motorcycle used for reconnaissance and supply runs. A Russian soldier was moving along a dirt road when a drone was detected approaching. He attempted to take cover, but the drone reached his position near the edge of a forest. Another soldier was moving between the trees when a drone suddenly descended and impacted nearby. A Russian service member, already injured, was seen crawling toward a pit for cover, struggling with his wounded leg. One drone reached his location, followed shortly after by another. On an open grass field, another Russian soldier was observed and targeted. The initial strike left him injured, and as he attempted to move to safety, a second drone concluded the operation. Another soldier attempted to conceal himself in dense vegetation, but the drone located his position. One moved cautiously beneath the trees, only to be engaged moments later in a nearby field. Another service member was later identified in motion and was also reached by an FPV drone. Under the scorching sun, two Russian soldiers advanced across an open field of dry grass. Suddenly, a Ukrainian FPV drone appeared and targeted the leading soldier without warning. The second soldier prepared to respond, but another drone descended and neutralized his position. Moments later, a third drone arrived and carried out another strike. The soldier, already wounded and unable to move, remained still on the ground. Soon after, he noticed yet another drone approaching. In a final effort, he reached for his rifle and tried to fire, but the weapon malfunctioned. The drone then descended and completed its operation with precise execution. A Ukrainian drone identified two Russian soldiers moving along a tree line near the road. Moments later, a drone descended and engaged one of them. The second attempted to withdraw, but another drone soon followed and reached his position nearby. A Ukrainian FPV drone detected a lone Russian soldier moving quickly beneath a canopy of trees near the forest's edge. From above, the drone quietly observed as the soldier made his way through patches of withered foliage, stepping over fallen branches and dry underbrush. His pace slowed after a long run, fatigue clearly visible. As he approached a wide grassy field near the tree line, he dropped to his knees and crawled into a nearby bush to rest. Hidden beneath the dense cover, he remained still, breathing heavily, perhaps believing he was finally safe. But the drone had already locked on. It hovered briefly to confirm the position, then descended low and quiet. Moments later, it reached the target with precise impact. Two Russian soldiers were observed moving along a dirt road, visibly fatigued. After a short distance, they paused and rested on the ground in plain view. Minutes later, they attempted to continue but could not travel far. Near the edge of a dry grass field, both stopped again, too exhausted to proceed. Throughout this time, a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone monitored their movements, maintaining a precise record of their location. Then an FPV drone approached the area, hovering above the field and circling slowly to assess both targets before moving toward one. A precise strike was executed, neutralizing the immediate threat. The second soldier attempted to retreat, seeking cover under a bush. However, another drone was already monitoring from above. It maintained surveillance until the location was confirmed, then descended to carry out a final targeted strike, completing the mission. While moving along a rural road in civilian vehicles, Russian soldiers noticed a Ukrainian FPV drone circling overhead. They quickly exited their vehicles and signaled for those behind to stop, but some continued forward despite the warning. Moments later, the drone descended and impacted one of the vehicles, causing a powerful blast. Smoke rose as confusion spread. Realizing the danger, the soldiers returned to their vehicle and continued moving. In modern warfare, caution can preserve lives, while disregard can prove costly. Members of the 5th Assault Brigade introduced an innovative approach in the field by operating Browning M2 machine guns remotely through specialized computer controllers. This setup enabled precise and controlled firing from a safe distance, demonstrating adaptive tactics and technological ingenuity. We invite our valued viewers to continue supporting the channel by liking the video and sharing their thoughts in the comments. In the Lyman region, an FPV drone from a Ukrainian unit conducted an operation in a forested area where Russian soldiers were positioned. Once the drone detected their equipment, operators scanned the surroundings for movement. The FPV drone advanced with precise maneuvers and ultimately identified a Russian soldier taking cover under a tree. The soldier attempted to evade the drone but was unsuccessful. This operation demonstrated the drone's effectiveness in complex, forested terrain. A Ukrainian soldier deployed an anti-tank mine against Russian forces positioned in a pillbox near Kostiantynivka in the Donetsk region. The operation was documented by the 3rd Line Battalion of the 111th Luhansk Territorial Defense Brigade. Yesterday, a train carrying fuel and lubricants in Zankoy, Crimea, was struck, resulting in its destruction and the disruption of supply lines. This time, another Russian soldier attempted to shoot down the drone but was unsuccessful. A Russian soldier tried to hide behind a tree to escape an FPV drone but failed. An enemy sedan attempted to escape through open fields, but the drone matched its speed and landed a precise hit right in the engine block. The vehicle came to a sudden halt, rendering it immobile. With nowhere to flee, the occupants had no chance of survival as the drone continued its relentless pursuit. Then comes footage of a drone targeting infantry in open terrain. Another shot captures a hidden antenna in the woods. And then a lone soldier trying to relocate under cover of trees. An enemy vehicle positioned on one of the frontline roads is quickly identified and hit. Enemy fighters attempt to fire back at the drone, but their effort proves useless. Shortly after, another enemy fighter was seen walking along a well-worn trail. Realizing he was being watched, the soldier jumped into the grass in an effort to hide. The FPV drone adjusted its flight path with precision, maneuvering carefully before executing the strike. The hit was direct, leaving no possibility for the soldier to continue. During another patrol, an FPV drone detected a Russian soldier lying exposed in the middle of a field. He appeared to be asleep, completely unaware of the danger overhead. The operators seized the opportunity and launched the strike without hesitation. The explosion left no chance for survival, ensuring the soldier would not return to the fight. A Russian soldier, either disoriented or pretending to wait for a vehicle, was spotted by Ukrainian reconnaissance drones. As the soldier took cover under a tree, a Ukrainian drone launched a precise strike, neutralizing him immediately. The Russian soldier, hidden behind a tree, threw his radio at the approaching drone in a desperate attempt to bring it down. However, his efforts were in vain, and the drone continued its attack unhindered. A Ukrainian infantryman from the 25th Separate Airborne Brigade deployed a TM-62 mine into a basement while under heavy fire. The explosion destroyed the shelter inside, neutralizing the fortified position, likely near Lysivka village in the Donetsk region. This operation demonstrates the precision and effectiveness of Ukrainian forces in targeting entrenched positions even under intense combat conditions. The Ukrainian 53rd Motorized Brigade launched an operation against Russian trenches in the Novodetsk-Luhansk region. Advancing cautiously with air support, Ukrainian troops made first contact with Russian soldiers. After a brief skirmish, the Russian troops signaled their intent to surrender. At first, the Ukrainian soldiers appeared uncertain how to proceed, but after a careful approach, they accepted the surrender of the Russian forces. Ukrainian FPV drones targeted a Russian military vehicle moving quickly across the field. Before the Russian soldiers could react, the drone struck its target with precision. The vehicle was left burning in the open, a clear reminder of the drone's lethal accuracy.